Thanks, James. Oh, my clock says 3 minutes, 47 seconds. That's never going to happen. I just want to point that out to you. Great to see you all. I'm Jeremy Scarf, memorable for me and for you, maybe. This morning, Sven suggested that we're going to have some beautiful speakers, and I was very excited about being part of that. But following on from Thomas, I feel a little bit underwhelmed, but I'll do what I can. This is all about restaurants with rooms. It's a move towards properties where food comes first. A little bit on who we are, if you don't know. Design and strategy and planning business set up 25 years ago, creating some of the world's most exciting F&B, leisure, retail, and experiential concepts, from clubs to bars to restaurants to coffee. We have studios in Bangkok, Dubai, London, and of course Birmingham, where we're from. But a little bit of history, first of all, on the subject of restaurants with rooms. It already started with rooms, going back into to history, the pensions, the auberge, the tavern, places where people would come, rest and get some refreshment. But it was really the French Revolution that started the restaurant that we know today, where the chefs of the nobles found themselves without any nobles to cook for anymore and decided to strike out on their own and create the restaurant as we know it today. But it's not always been easy for the hotel restaurants to cope. Often they weren't able to provide what their guests wanted, and the guests wanted to get out of the hotel and go and experience life on the high street, and some of the explosion in casual dining chains and offers were able to deliver that. And also the demands of the asset owner behind the hotel, making the pressure extreme onto the hotel operator. So lots of challenges for them, and even where they were able to sublet and make a lease agreement or a JV, some of those contracts and demands for those partners were quite challenging. But the hotels are fighting back and creating some world-class F&B concepts. This main image that you can see is from the Burj Al Arab Hotel, one of the most iconic in the world, the 7-star hotel. And it's a bar we created on the top floor called Gold on 27. And it's definitely a world-class service and F&B experience. But other angles the hotel operators are taking, adopting brands, so the Hard Rock Hotel, adopted from a restaurant, of course, and the Buddha Bar Hotel in Paris and in Prague, likewise, so taking an established bar concept into a whole hotel. And most recently launched from the Hoxton Hotel, their co-working experience called Working From. So what's behind these changes? I think we've picked up on a few of the trends this morning in a couple of presentations, and it's good to know I'm on trend with some of those as well. No surprises, really. Social media and Instagram particularly, exchange of images, culinary travel, destinational tourism that's driven by food, the experience economy, from competitive socializing to some of the theatrical F&B experiences that we were looking at, and really a breakdown in the way that we work and the deformalization of the workspace. I want to look at each of those just very quickly. I think interesting stat, we did some analysis, and people are 650 times more likely to share an image of their food than they are an image of their hotel room. No surprises there, unless, of course, you've got someone more interesting in the hotel bed. But certainly the quality and the style of the imagery really tell a story about what people are looking for. We talked about culinary travel. Obviously, individual restaurants like Noma and El Bulli started this phenomenon, but it spawned a whole alumni in Copenhagen, for instance, where some of those original chefs at Noma have started up their own and provided a complete network of great restaurants to visit. And even hearing from El Bulli, from the plans there, they're opening up their own exhibition experience, which is due to open this month. And Ferran Adria is talking about philosophers, talking about journalists, talking about chefs coming together to make a complete experience rather than one that's just about being a restaurant. So rather than charging diners $200 a meal and having a waiting list of 5 years, he feels he can make more money and more impact out of doing this route. The experience, the complete immersive experience that the guest is really looking for is taking place into dining. And this is a brief that actually Emma, who was on stage before in the panel, gave to us for the Conrad Hilton property on the Sheikh Zayed Road in Dubai. And the brief there was to be completely immersive, to create a totally, truly Instagrammable experience. And this is a Korean chicken and beer restaurant that's a project called Kimpo. And all of the environment, as you can see from these images, is about engagement, is about involvement, is about messaging, is obviously very Instagrammable, and is really bringing together the kind of best of Brooklyn and Seoul into one new experience. And that experience isn't just the environment. The menu's got a fantastic product called the Lunchbox, where they bring you a deconstructed dish to your table, which is literally a little metal lunchbox, and then the server will shake the lunchbox up, so that creates a fusion of all the different ingredients and a whole new taste and a whole new experience. And that harks back to the Korean family where the mum would put last night's leftovers into the kids' lunchbox, and on the way to school that would get shaken up and create a meal. And that story, that family creative story, is a real strong part of that experience. And finally, the breakdown of the working formats. And I touched on what the Hoxton Hotel Group were doing, which is really relevant with their working from concept. But for as long as we've been in this business, people have been having meetings in restaurants and hotels, of course. But we've seen a real shift, as we touched on earlier, driven by the availability of the mobile technology to make a much more fluid working environment. So those communities that have been brought to us by people like WeWork, and I've seen walking around in Amsterdam last night, creative spaces that are doing really well. And the rise of the Business Social Members Club. People like Soho House, we talked about the net earlier, but the actual platform for members coming together from specific industries to help and socialize and work together. So part of my brief was to also talk about hotels that are doing it well. So I wanted to show some of our hotels that we've designed. This is one that's just opened up in London from Barry Sternlich's One Hotel Group, SH Properties. This is their new, funky, sustainable little sister to One Hotel called Treehouse. And it's a whole experience that's centered around food, natural environment, and a journey that means you arrive actually into a cafe at the ground floor level, not a reception, and you're welcomed with a coffee or a snack, and then you travel up to check in on the 15th floor, which is a restaurant itself. So you're not going through any of the formality of the hotel check-in or conventional experience. And then there's a wonderful bar up on the 16th floor as well. But everything within this design is all about nature, sustainability. The materials have all been sourced locally or upcycled or repurposed. And not just popular amongst the BBC campus who are next door in London, but also with our founders chat with Jeremy King later, spotted there just before Christmas at the GQ Awards. Hopefully you'll not shoot me down for using that picture. And creating I hope you agree, a wonderful space. It was a complete hotel design for us, so it was a great project. Moving continents over to Dubai. This is the W Hotel that we've designed 2 F&B outlets at last year. And W, I think it's fair to say, really the standout success within the corporate boutique market. Sorry, Emma. They are really led by design, and their most talked about feature are certainly this bar, which is called Sobe, has a South Beach Haitian vibe, and the restaurant on the left-hand side, which is Akira Bak's restaurant. He's a Vegas-based Korean chef. And these are not only boosting the profile of the W Hotel in Dubai, but also attracting a lot of standalone visits, destinational visits, where people are spending good money, and this is a commercial as well as a award-winning design. Talked about a little bit earlier on, but I wanted to expand on it. The Pig Group really turned the whole idea of a country house hotel on its head, completely driven by food. In fact, their pitch is restaurant with rooms, and they create an experience that includes a food forager, someone that goes to select local partners who grow and produce within a 25-mile radius, so it's a very concentrated and close network. Also, they have wonderful kitchen gardens and gardeners that you can talk to and pick your own food and see that cooked later on. And they have a very rich events program, cookery schools, and even their own summer festival, which is very popular. We touched on Manchester, an interesting challenge earlier on. We're designing a restaurant and, in fact, the whole hotel called Cubic. Cubic are here in Amsterdam and also in London and in Brussels. This is their newest site, which is breaking into Manchester. And the important thing here is about the reach into the local community, about how you connect to who your audience are locally. And that's what we're doing with local artists, creators, sculptors, furniture makers, and really creating a connection to that local design community and reflecting that in the designs. And these are renders. It's being built at the moment. But it's all about defining a journey for the hotel that is led by the F&B and will have a unique flavour to Manchester. Disruptor that I enjoy working with, and we did some brand work with them a couple of years ago, is BrewDog. I think it's an amazing model and how they've taken that and turned into so many different experiences. And their latest experience to have the BrewDog Kennels Hotel, which is in Aberdeen and also in Columbus, Ohio, where you can go visit the brewery and then stay in the hotel, and even in your shower, there's a beer fridge. Who doesn't want to have a shower with a beer? Future thinking projects worked on last year for not a hotel, as they describe themselves, a stay. It's a flexible student, business, leisure accommodation, but all technology driven in the fact that you can, particularly for the student or a customer, they can set their preferred lighting, heating, music, all through their app. And then when they return for after the weekend or whatever and take up another room, but they can instantly convert that setting to suit theirs. And they wanted us to talk about how F&B could follow that level of automation, how people could pre-order, personalize, automate, and collect their F&B in a much more digital and technologically driven way, even encouraging Deliveroo and other delivery partners to come in and bring food directly to the hotel. So really much more flexible and open model. So some interesting things going on in the future. And in terms of what's next and what's coming up, I think we're going to see some further blurring of these lines between what the traditional hotel, restaurants and bar spaces are all about, and really expanding some of that. Things like pop-up, pop-out dining, so where the restaurants are, where in the building, where outside of the building, how does that pop-up work? Maybe a further blend and coming together of private dining with private rooms, private bedrooms even. A broadcast and a social communication point within the restaurant or within the F&B space where people can talk about what they've enjoyed and create their own film and their own movies. Obviously entertainment and music and comedy and all the other options for immersive entertainment, being able to personalize and design your dining space directly around you, and getting into fitness and well-being with thinking about how that food you're going to eat is affecting your health and how you integrate nutrition as part of your physical activity, and where the hotel stands in being able to do that. And really, just sort of in reflection, 25 years ago when we started the business, it was all about creating the nightclub scene and the late night scene. There was a real energy, real excitement going on there. And we've helped shape certainly the UK scene sort of 15, 20 years ago, that we've then taken into the Middle East. And now we're seeing hotel companies come to us to get some of that energy. And thinking about the future, they're really well placed in the fact that they've got the facility and the platform to be able to bring lots of new experiences and extend those experiences and blend them together. And I think that's going to be an exciting future, and one that we're helping shape and develop. So a little snapshot into the world of beyond restaurants within hotels and what's going on. So I'm around to chat some more on it later on, but thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Jeremy.